Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Gary. How you doing?
Good. Still trying to get my voice back, but I tell you what, I feel like it's right around the corner, just like your softball season is. This time next week, you'll be ready to go. And I got to tell you something, man. You can start the season off, and then you can start the season off in the Kickin' Chicken Classic. And when you're doing that up in Conway, South Carolina, you're serious about it because there's only one Kickin' Chicken Classic. You're in it next weekend. You, Towson, Coastal Carolina, Youngstown State, all going to be getting it on. Really, really sounds like a fun way to get it started.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you've already had to say it twice because I don't think I could say it twice. The tournament name, I mean. We're really looking forward to going over there. You know, Marissa Runyon is a senior from Myrtle Beach, went to high school over there. And, we're going over there for her. Her mom, her family's hosting us Friday night. So we're looking forward to that. And obviously it's been, since August 30th that this team has been preparing. So I know the pitchers are looking forward to seeing somebody else other than our hitters, and our hitters are looking forward to seeing somebody else. So it should be a fun way to start the season.
Yeah, and, looking at your club, it looks really strong. Again, I've made this comparison a few times. Alabama softball and Alabama football have a lot in common, and that is the expectation is, pretty much for you, World Series or bust, and for them, college football playoff or bust. And even with Alabama coming up just a few seconds short of another national championship, there was some disappointment. That's kind of the way it is for you now. I mean, I understand that every year is a different year and you got to go out and get it done. And this is a good thing in a lot of ways. But do you sense that every year now your fan base just expects a trip to Oklahoma City?
Probably. And, I tell the team this all the time. It's the positive and the negative of being a student athlete in any sport, really, at Alabama, because everybody expects you to do well and win. And, everybody has the resources to do that. And when you've had the history that we have, it's just, we're expected, and everybody kind of has that mindset right now. And that's the coolest thing. And, this senior class is the first one ever that has an opportunity to go to 4 straight.
That's right.
Because they've won to 1, 2, and 3 their freshman, sophomore year. And in years past, they've missed it either as a freshman, a sophomore, or a junior. But this class has done it the first 3 years. And it would be really cool to be able to send them out with another trip to OKC. But, we've got a long ways to go. And softball and baseball, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And we're going to take it, the old cliche, one game at a time. I've got 18 really, really good kids on the roster. I think, I say this every year to you, and you know it, but the depth on this team is just incredible. We've got 15 hitters. None of the pitchers hit. We've got 3 pitchers, but they bring something different to the table, and I think this is my best mix as an offense. Like, we got a couple power lefties. We've got quite a few lefties that can run. We've got a couple righties that can run, and then we got a bunch of power righties. So I think I'm going to be able to mix and match according to whoever is pitching to us, and I haven't been able to do that as much in the past. But I think this year it's going to be a lot of fun. It's almost going to be like managing in the National League. So without the pitcher having to hit.
Yeah, let's talk specifically about this team, and we'll get into losing Haley McClenny, who arguably is the greatest center fielder in the history of the program. I say arguably because when you've had Kelly Kretschmann and others, it's up for debate, but she was great. But let's talk about what you've got coming back first. And you mentioned the pitching. Let's start right there because you've got all 3 of your pitchers coming back. And as you said, all do a little something different. Sydney Littlejohn, Alexis Osorio, and Maddie Moore. I don't know. I think maybe that's happened before when you've had your whole staff back, but to have them all back and have 3 pitchers of this quality, that's got to be pretty reassuring as a head coach.
Exactly. And, all of them have really good experience. Maddie was 9-0 as a freshman, so it's not like she's coming in and didn't get to pitch last year. And the other 2 have both been named second-team All-American during their career. Lexi was SEC Freshman of the Year. The credentials that both of them have probably match, I guess, when we had Kelsey Dunn and Jackie Traina, but Jackie Traina was a freshman when Kelsey was a senior. So we really haven't had that 1-2 punch with that much experience that, I can't remember for a long time. But they all 3 have looked good. Like you said, they bring something different to the table. Sydney has one of the best curveballs in the country. Lexi has one of the best rise balls. And Maddie is a lefty that throws pretty hard. And, if Maddie can spot up her pitches, she can beat anybody. When she can hit the corners and hit whatever Steph calls, she's going to be tough to beat. So, all three are in very good shape. They're challenged at the beginning of the season to get in the best shape of their life, and I think all of them have done that. So I don't think endurance is going to be an issue with anybody. And again, it's a 56-game regular season, so I'm going to definitely, they know that I'm going to use everybody. I can't ride one person, and they're all going to get shots. They're all going to get opportunities, but the most important thing is they're ready for that opportunity when they get it.
Indeed, and my guess is they will be. You lost a pretty special senior class from a year ago, and some players that had played a lot of softball for you, had done a lot of winning, were clutch. You'll probably run down the list. I think of Lafayette and others, but of course, at center field, you had a special player, a once in a generation type player. So let's start with replacing McClenny, and not that anybody can replace her, but and also just the leadership that class brought to the program, finding other leaders to step up and fill that void.
Well, to me, that's number one, because Haley, Callie Case, Andrea Hawkins, and Leona, they wanted to win number one. They didn't care who got the credit, who got the game-winning hit. As long as we won, they were happy. And Callie was one of the best kids we've ever had in terms of leader superseding that of friend. If she had to tell people what to do, where to go, and how to do it, she would. And she had no problem with it. And that's a rarity nowadays. And that quality is what I'm going to miss most about her. Haley was our emotional leader. She was our, she got everybody up in the weight room. If she felt there was a down moment, she was screaming and yelling. She was like a mini Scott Cochran. And that's hard to replace too, because you just don't find people that have that energy 100% of the time. So she's a difficult. Andrea was, she was a part-time starter. She was a starter. She was a role player and never once complained. And Leona, obviously, was one of the best defensive first basemen of all time here. I think she had 3 errors her entire career at first base, and then had a hell of a senior year when she was an All-American, led us in RBIs and home runs. So the 4 of them are going to be hard to replace. So center field, as long as you brought it up, I think it's down to Alyssa Brown, who's a freshman from Eclectic, and you're going to love her. She's one of the fastest kids we've ever had.
Wow.
And I had a buddy, she made the junior Olympic team, and he texted me and said, Murph, she might be the fastest kid I've ever seen in softball. And he's been around for a while. And then I think the other kid is Maris Schroeder, who's a sophomore. And between her and Chandler Dare, they probably have the best arm on the team. But both of them have, kind of had spots of brilliance, either offensive or defensively. I don't think either one of them have put it together like Haley did. So I'm hoping that whoever we decide on, we'll put both of the games together. But, neither one of them have played a lot. Obviously, Alyssa hasn't played at all. But, Maris had some opportunities last year, and I think she's going to be, less nervous and anxious. But we'll see. I think both of them can do the job. And, one of our sayings at Alabama softball is tradition never graduates. And that was the case when we had Brittany Rogers, who was a 4-time All-American, and everybody said, oh, my God, what are you going to do? And then Kayla Breaux walks in, and when she leaves, everybody says, what the heck are you going to do? And then Haley McClenny walks in, and now, you're saying the same thing about her. So hopefully we're just going to put another person in there, and they're going to get their shot, and they're going to continue the tradition of a great, leadoff hitter and center fielder, because she was both. Her on-base percentage is one of the best in the country, and her walk to strikeout was unbelievable. I think her senior year, it was 62-8. And, I think it's down to Maris and Alyssa. And Alyssa the other day in the scrimmage went 4 for 5 and looked really good. So there's 2 more scrimmages this weekend, and that's going to go a lot towards who gets that spot. But, everybody's going to get a shot. So the opening day starter will probably be decided this weekend.
Again, Alabama opens it up next Friday in Conway, South Carolina at the Kickin' Chicken Classic against Towson at 11:30 a.m. Central. The home opener, by the way, Wednesday, February 15th against a really good South Alabama club. That'll be at the Rhodes House at 5 p.m. Central. Let's get into the schedule as we're going to have to wrap it up, Coach. But we know the schedule's top-notch. It always is. I'm looking at it right now, just some great games. I want to talk specifically, though, about the SEC and having Auburn back on the schedule this year at home. Even though you got to go through an entire season before you get there, it's the final regular season series. But bear with me here. 2 years ago down there, it was one of the great SEC series that we've ever seen. But I want to ask you, because for many, many years, you dominated them. Let's just be honest. You dominated Auburn. It was a one-sided rivalry. Their fan base was okay, but nothing out of the ordinary. They go out and they get Clint Myers, and they just totally reinvent their program. Now their following is similar to yours. They're rabid, the fan base is. Did you like it better when they weren't any good? Or do you like it better now when they finished second in the nation last year? Your thoughts on this rivalry and what it's become?
I mean, I think it's similar to football. And, I think you get more excited when the other side is extremely competitive.
Right.
We never took them for granted by any means, because they were going to,
sure, each
side's going to play like the best game of their season against each other.
But you were usually better than them.
Yeah, but, and now it's made us work a little harder.
Okay.
I think everything means a little more. I know when we went down there 2 years ago, it was, we had one of our best offensive performances, we've ever had. I think Lexi shut them out. It was 7-0, 13-3. And the last game we were ahead 10-5 in the 7th, and they came back and beat us in the 8th or 9th. But it was just, a great series, and we haven't had them here, it seems like forever. I can't remember the last time they came here just because of the way the schedule worked.
Right.
But with them, with LSU, with Washington, and that was another thing I wanted to make sure I said. Washington's going to play us in a 2-game series, but it's A-Day, and A-Day starts at 2, and we're going to play Washington at 4:30. And, Heather Tarr is one of the classicest ladies in softball, and I texted her, and I said, hey, can we move it to 4:30? Because A-Day, I said, we'll probably have a record crowd. And most coaches, believe it or not, would say, no, I'd rather have it at 2.
Because they won't want you having that big crowd.
Yeah. But she wrote back and she said, excellent.
Yeah.
Sounds like a win-win situation for both sides. And I was like, you know what? That's why I like her. So we're going to play at 4:30, and I hope I see a lot of, football jerseys in the crowd that day. But you got LSU at home. You got Arkansas, South Carolina. We got Texas Tech coming in with Amanda Locke, who is a former national champion as the pitching coach. So it's going to be a fun schedule. I'm hoping, our goal, ticketing and marketing wise, is we want to be the first team to have 100,000 fans in a season go through the gates. So we're going to need everybody at every game.
Yeah, well, that's something for us to all rally around. That is a great goal. 100,000 in attendance in 2017, fans. Make it happen. Go to rolltide.com to see the schedule. It is awesome. Bama kicks it off, as I said, next week in Conway, South Carolina. I just can't say this enough. At the Kickin' Chicken Classic. Hey, Murph, man, I'm looking forward to it again. I remind people to go to rolltide.com to check out that schedule. It's great. And I'm glad you said that, because that's something I'm excited about. To get 100,000 fans to pass through those turnstiles in 2017, I think we can make it happen.
Well, with your help, we will. But I really appreciate it, Gary.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Have a good weekend.